Are you thinking of retiring and moving to Florida? Well, I want to talk about 10 cities that are standouts in the state of Florida for retirement. My name is Troy Funk. I am a real estate broker. I have been a resident of Florida for more than 40 years. And as I'm in my later 50s, I'm thinking of retirement, and I know the state very well. And I want to show you through some amazing drone photography, some absolutely beautiful places to consider if you're thinking of moving to Florida. I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons of each area from a very honest standpoint of retirement. What would I consider as pros and cons for retirement in different areas? So I hope to give you value. And if I give you value, please click that like button, click the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. And with that, let's get started on 10 places to consider for retirement if you're moving to Florida. Number 10 is Destin, Florida. And when I talk about Destin, I'm talking about the Panhandle, the Emerald Coast of Florida, some of the most beautiful beaches in the state of Florida. Areas surrounding Destin would be Mexico Beach, Panama City, Santa Rosa, Fort Walton Beach, Pensacola, all share the same beautiful beach. And what's unique about Destin is obviously it's the northwest section of Florida, but it's so northwest that it's actually in the central time zone, where most of Florida is in the eastern time zone. And one of the challenges with the Panhandle or Destin that I get a lot of feedback on is that Destin can be cold. Now, if people are moving to Florida, they may want to stay in Destin during the wintertime to see if that's not an issue. But Destin has amazing beaches. And what's so unique about Destin is it's a vacation spot. It's a vacation hub for 5 different states. Those states being Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and of course, Florida. Destin is a vacation destination spot, and it has its own vibe. It's more of a touristy vibe. It's open to everyone, all age groups. So as such, you find a lot of young families. And what's also unique about Destin is it's close to the Eglin Air Force Base, which has a lot of military, young families. So Destin overall has a young vibe to it, which is nice for Florida. It's very different than a lot of areas of Florida. But Destin, downside would be that it feels somewhat remote. You're not close to an international airport. You're not close to a big city. So close to Destin is somewhat isolated. Now, what makes this good is that Destin, if you can use the word affordable, is probably one of the most affordable places to live in Florida that is close to a beach, and not just a beach, an absolutely beautiful beach. So Destin could be a good opportunity to retire if you want to be by an amazing beach and affordability is an issue. How can I get the best value for my money being close to a beach in Florida? I would consider Destin, Florida. Number 9 is Naples, Florida. Now, Naples is one of the most beautiful cities in the state of Florida, and it's also one of the most affluent, wealthiest places. So it is not on the affordability list, but place. So what makes Naples very special is just its location. Naples is on the Gulf of Mexico, south. Just south of Naples, you have Marco Island. That stretch of real estate from Marco to Naples is somewhat protected because when you go east, you're in the Everglades, not buildable land. So this protection of real estate has been very well thought of the way it's been developed. And the infrastructure of Naples is amazing. Naples puts a lot of emphasis on landscaping. Public roadways have a lot of open space. And when people drive through Naples, you commonly hear tropical paradise, affluent style. Now, Naples, of course, has some amazing restaurants, shopping, and the downtown area. From that, you could walk to the public beach, and the beaches are absolutely beautiful. When you swim in the Gulf, I've been there with dolphins swimming, and it's absolutely beautiful. And when you're at the beaches of Naples and you head north into Fort Myers, some of the most beautiful beaches I think you're going to find are in that area. One of my favorites is Lover's Key, which is a preserved area, and when you look at it from the aerial, absolutely beautiful. Now, Naples has a large percentage of second homeowners. So in the wintertime, the population is at its peak, and in the summertime, it's actually quite quiet in Naples. Naples, a good consideration if you're thinking of retiring to Florida. Mount Dora, which is located on the central north part of Florida, about 40 minutes from Orlando. This area is absolutely beautiful with rolling hills, an abundance of trees and lakes, and has an old Florida feel to it. Now, when I refer to Mount Dora, I'm also talking about the cities around there, which are Tavares, Eustis, and even Apopka, which are suburbs of Orlando. Now, Mount Dora itself is a historical city. It hosts the oldest hotel in the state of Florida, known as the Lakeside Inn. Now, Mount Dora is actually on Lake Dora, which is an enormous lake. This lake is about 4,300 plus acres, and this lake is so big it actually has its own yacht club, and it's an amazing place to watch sunset. So even though you're not on the beach, you're in Central Florida, you have other attributes to make this area special. Now, what's interesting about North Florida is that when people live in Florida, for example, if they live in Miami or they grew up in Naples or Fort Myers, and they want to downsize or they want to scale their life down to retirement, they want a property that's more affordable, but they remember Florida back in the way that it used to be, they normally head to North Florida. And we're seeing a migration of south moving north when people retire because it's less expensive to live in North Florida. Downside, as we talked about, is North Florida. The further you get north, it gets a little colder. So you have to kind of balance that scale if that's an important aspect. But Mount Dora is a beautiful place. And what's unique about this downtown is there's a lot of culture and art and festivals, and it's an interesting place. And if you want to live somewhere that is not where your house doesn't look like your neighbor's home and you want to have more of a unique lifestyle, this would be a good consideration for retirement. It brings a lot of people to the area because it's a tourist place, but it's an interesting place and certainly a place to consider if you're thinking of retiring in Florida. Number 7, Miami, Florida, one of the wealthiest locations in the state of Florida. Miami is the destination location for millionaires and billionaires from all over the world, especially California and New York. We've seen a lot of migration into Miami from those looking to retire to the Sunshine State. Now, Miami is an exciting place. It's a very electric place. There's a lot of things to do in Miami. It is an international hub spot, and as such, Miami has had a lot of changes. Now, Miami is not an affordable place to live, but what's unique about Miami is Miami has some of the most beautiful beaches, of course, in Florida. South Beach, which is world renowned as an exciting place to be. If you go from South Beach and you head north on the east side of Florida, you'll see that real estate prices are still high, but they start to gradually go down the further north you go up. So when I'm talking about Miami, I'm talking about Miami north, the East Coast. The East Coast has a very different vibe than the West Coast. And depending on where you're coming in from to retire, again, if it's California, New York, that's probably going to be an obvious choice for you. Now, if you're coming from the Midwest, most Midwesters, the West Coast of Florida. So Miami is an exciting place, a lot of vibrancy, a lot of things to do. The real downside to Miami is it is crowded. It's crowded to get through there. If you're trying to drive through Miami, it's a very crowded place. There's a lot of population there, and it's grown so fast, so quick. So ideally, if you're looking for retirement and you're thinking Miami, you might want that location on the beach where you stay put, or you may want to be in downtown area. But understand, it's going to be a busy location, but Miami has been a destination location for millionaires, billionaires looking to retire to our Sunshine State. Number 6 is St. Petersburg, Florida. Now, this is an exciting place. It's located just north of the Sunshine Skyway. And what's unique about St. Pete is you have a downtown area and you have a beach area, and they're both amazing. The downtown area has seen so much revitalization over the last several years as the population from California moving to our area has changed a lot of things, especially St. Pete. Now, St. Petersburg, the downtown area is very vibrant, and there's a lot of revitalization. Now, it is rumored, I will understand, that the largest building, the tallest building in the state of Florida is currently under construction right now in downtown St. Pete. There's been so much transformation going on, and downtown St. Pete is an area with art, culture, a lot of restaurants, the bayfront's amazing, marina. So the downtown area is very vibrant, but you have another side to St. Pete, and that is the beach side to St. Pete. South is Fort DeSoto Park. Now, this is absolutely a beautiful location. This is a preserve area, and you can see by the aerials, it's beautiful. So if you have a boat and you like to go out and see nature, this is one of the prettiest beaches in Florida, is actually in this Fort DeSoto area. So that's amazing. And as you head up, you have a lot of nice areas to visit. Paso Grill, St. Pete, Johns Pass, Reddington Shores. And what's unique about St. Pete is, for the most part, St. Pete is built out. So if you're looking for new construction, looking to retire, downtown St. Pete or the beachfront, you're normally looking at a remodel. You're looking at an older home that you can remodel, or if you want to be on the waterfront, beachfront, there's a lot of choices for housing in St. Pete. And the other real plus side with St. Pete, because it is built out, there's a lot more possibilities for affordable housing. So if you're looking for more of affordable housing, you're gonna find a lot of possibilities here in St. Pete if you're looking to retire to Florida. Stuart, Florida. Now, Stuart is a gem. And what makes Stuart so special? Well, Stuart is known as the best coastal small town, and it lives up to its reputation. It is a cute place, a downtown that offers an abundance of restaurants and shops and history, and has a farmer's market there on the weekends. It's along the St. Lucie River. Beautiful place, very quaint, very fun. A lot of art, feels like a very safe place. And what's neat about this is when you look at the East Coast and you look at Miami, Miami has some of the most expensive real estate in Florida. But when you go north, the real estate values go down. So Stuart is on the central East Coast of Florida. As such, there's a lot of value right there for owning real estate. But what's going to be significant is the Bright Line. The Bright Line is coming through. It's going to stop in Stuart. The Bright Line currently starts in Orlando and goes all the way to Miami. It's a fast train system. It's our newest accomplishment in Florida. I've been on it many times. I'm a big fan of the Bright Line because it gets you quick access to two major cities. And this is going to have an impact on Stuart. Stuart's a quiet, quaint downtown, but now it's going to have access to Orlando and Miami in very record time. Stuart is just a fun place. It has a lot of art and culture, and it's just unique. It's quiet and certainly opportunity for value. So if you're looking to live on the East Coast of Florida, without a doubt, I consider Stuart, Florida the best value right now if you're looking to retire to Florida. Number 4, the Florida Keys. Now, this would be an amazing place to retire. And it's interesting because the Keys have their own time zone, and that time zone is, I just don't care. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. And I think it's kind of funny knowing the mentality. I've got good friends down there, and whenever there's a hurricane and they're asked to leave the islands, they don't leave. In fact, they just have a party. And that's just kind of the attitude of the Florida Keys. It's probably the most relaxed place I've ever been to, where people are just there to have fun. The waterfront lifestyle is amazing. When you live down there, it's all about lifestyle. Now, with housing, there's only so much housing. So real estate has just gone through the roof. And I can think back when I was a teenager going down to the Keys, and it wasn't much back then, and it has exploded. And again, it can only grow so much, but real estate has more than 10x'd itself from that time period, as it's all about lifestyle. There's only so much real estate, and if you're thinking of moving down the Keys, you look at all the options. There are choices, and there's different choices of lifestyle, but you're not typically getting a brand new home. You're buying a resale property, and most likely it is, if it's not on the water, it's close to the water, as that's all about the Keys. So the Keys is a lifestyle choice, and if you have a boat, or if you have a jet ski, if you're into scuba diving, a lot of opportunity to just enjoy life and say, I'm done, this is where I want to be, as so many people do. A fun place to consider if you're thinking of retiring would be the Florida Keys. Punta Gorda, also known as Punta Gorda. Now this is a good choice if you're thinking of retiring and moving to Florida, if the waterfront lifestyle is absolutely important to you. A lot of people want to retire, they want to have a warm climate, and they want to have a boat in their backyard. And this would be a good opportunity for buying real estate, because when you look at buying a house on the water anywhere in the state of Florida with those qualifications, this one meets those marks. Now, the downside is there's no beach. There's no beach close to this, but if you have a boat, you have access to get to a beach, but not in the area. The other thing is this area is a little remote. It's a little quiet, but it's surrounded by population. Within an hour south, you're in Fort Myers, close to Naples. An hour north, you're in Sarasota. And what's also unique about this area is just the opportunity for housing. So if you want a new home, that's very possible. If you go further south, Cape Coral, there's an abundance of choice for new homes. And if you are looking for condominiums, there's a lot of lifestyle choices in this area. What I like about this is this reminds me of Sarasota 40 years ago. Just a quiet area, a lot of good amenities, a beautiful area, and yet the price point here is very good. There's a lot of value here in this location. So the area to consider if you're thinking of moving to Florida would be Punta Gorda. Number 2 would be the Villages. Now this, of course, is considered one of the top retirement places in the state of Florida for many good reasons. And I can remember how fast the Villages has grown. And why is the Villages so desirable for a place to retire in the state of Florida? Well, it gets down to value. The Villages is located in the north central part of Florida. And if you're looking to move to Florida and you want a new home, that's a good opportunity to find a good value. But what's unique about the Villages is the Villages is designed for retirement. And I think one of the coolest things with the Villages is the idea that if you have a golf cart, you can get anywhere you possibly need to go in the Villages. In fact, the golf carts have their own road system throughout the Villages with underground tunnels and bridges to give you easy access without using a car. So it's very cool. And if you like golf or any type of activities, the Villages accommodates retirement, and it's ideal for that reason. For that, the Villages has grown immensely. Now, to me, I think of the Villages as an adult Disney World, because it looks like Disney World. If Disney World could design a community, this is what it would look like. Everything is made to look authentic, and yet it's all new. So the downtown has a historic look to it to some degree. Ideally, what makes sense with the Villages is that it's clean and it's safe and it's new. So it's a place to come to Florida and feel that you could plug right in and be in a community where there's going to be a lot of amenities, a lot of people your age that could collaborate with and have a good time and a great retirement. So the Villages is one of the top choices for the state of Florida if you're thinking of moving and retiring here. Number 1, I would say Venice, Florida. And why Venice? Well, Venice is the sister city to Sarasota, Florida, and Sarasota gets a lot of attention because it has one of the world's best beaches, as many people would consider Siesta Key, and Sarasota has a lot of attributes to be a great place to live, and it is. I live in Sarasota. But when I think about a retirement place, Sarasota would definitely be my top choice. However, I like Venice. And why do I like Venice? Venice, especially Venice Island, has so many amazing qualities. Now, when you think about retirement, For me, it's got to be about lifestyles. There's got to be a lot of things to do. I want to be in a place where I can do a lot of activities and feel comfortable in that environment, and that's Sarasota. However, what's neat about Venice is Venice has an amazing walk score, especially the island. If you live on the island of Venice, you could literally walk to the beach, walk to the grocery store, walk to downtown, walk to watch a show at the theater. It's got an amazing walk score, but it's also on the beach, and I don't know of any other place quite like that at the price point that Venice offers. So Venice is amazing to me for a retirement possibility. I did a video that took about 100+ hours to create, talking about the 10 best things to do in Sarasota. Talks about how amazing Sarasota is, but from that perspective, Sarasota outprices some people. And if it does, I would say go Sarasota adjacent. Sarasota adjacent could be Venice, it could be Inglewood, a little bit south of that. And there's a lot of opportunity to still have the lifestyle of Sarasota, but without the Sarasota expense. And with that, Venice is a possibility. So if you're thinking of moving and retiring to Florida, again, my name is Troy Funk. I am a real estate broker in the state of Florida. I welcome the opportunity to help you. Reach out to me, and I hope this has been helpful to you. And if it has, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Please leave your comments below, and I thank you and I wish you well.